Hey guys, so today we are going to answer a subscriber question, and the question in question is, Frederick, should I learn or is it worth learning WordPress theme development as a beginner? So let's get into it. Now, to answer this question, I'm going to give you the short answer first and foremost, which is the same answer that it's applicable to every good question, which is it depends. But that's just not good enough. I'm sorry, we can't just say it depends, because it always depends. Everything depends on something, right? So let's get a little bit deeper than that. You see, when it comes to WordPress themes specifically, we have to ask the question, all right, what is your goal with learning this? That's always the first question you should ask yourself whenever you want to figure out if you should learn that or this or that, because at the end of the day, guys, you will not have the time, or most likely, well, nobody has the time to learn it all. So what is your purpose with learning WordPress theme development? Is it just because you think it's fun? Well, great, then go in and just learn it, because it is a great deal of fun to create these themes. It's a very nice way to have side projects. I mean, there are companies who do this professionally as well, but it's something that you can do in your spare time. Another thing that is very great about it is that if you try to be a little bit serious about it, as I said, you can actually, some do it professionally, you can actually make money from it if you wanted to. And it's also a nice way for you to, I would say, focus more on understanding business value and understand design and these sorts of things, instead of focusing so much on the coding. But if your goal is, on the other hand, to become a professional software developer, then this is complete. It is virtually a waste of time for you, because it is too specific. Now, what I mean by that is that there is this dependency on a very specific platform. Now, themes is, I mean, if you learn how to make a WordPress theme and you get really good at that, you are good at making WordPress themes. But the industry doesn't really use this in the way that you would probably expect. It's not about expecting things, it's more about if your goal is to be a professional software developer, you are going to find it very, very hard to find a job if you put that on your CV. I mean, it's not a bad thing to have it on your CV, but the thing that companies are going to look at is not that specific thing. They're going to think it's great that you have extra knowledge in a certain area, but it's very unlikely that you're going to do that professionally. It's very unlikely that they are going to hire you based on that skill set. So the question is that, do you already have skills that are relevant? As I said, if it's just for fun, go for it. But in a word, no, you don't. If you want to be a professional software developer, then there is no reason for you to learn WordPress themes. You should, in that case, focus on skills that are relevant to real software development, because the WordPress themes are not real. It's not real software development. It is coding, but it's very controlled. It's very specific to a very specific platform and a very specific product. There's nothing bad with it. I'm just stating that it's not something that you're going to face in the workforce as a software developer. So basically the answer is, as I said, you don't have to. And I would even go one further, and I will say that if you are a complete beginner, it's a little bit dangerous as well, because let's be honest here, this is not the first time somebody's asked me this sort of question. And it's actually funny, because just yesterday, I'm still kind of recovering from a fairly good night out. I was out with my not my co-workers, but my friends' co-workers, and they work in different support areas and IT and so forth. I mean, we're all IT people, right? And my friend was trying to explain what he does. He's a solution architect. He was trying to explain that to his father and his wife, like what specifically that is. And then he kind of looks over to me and he says, well, I can't do what Frederick does. Like, he builds things from nothing and, builds it from the ground up. But I have like different like he works with integrations, and as a solution architect, most of what he does has to do with specifically integrations, using things like MuleSoft and these other off-the-shelf solutions to basically integrate different legacy systems that would be way too expensive to rewrite. So you instead create a big layer between, so you can actually automate workflows and all of that good stuff. There's a big business that has to do with that, and it's actually quite, in comparison to professional grade software development, is actually a lot simpler and more accessible to a lot of people. And what's interesting is that we are actually seeing a trend that moves towards that. The demand for IT solutions is so massive that we are actually seeing people developing platforms to make it more accessible without the extreme amount of work and and dedication it takes to do it from the ground up, because we have actually started to realize that some of these solutions that people are looking for, you don't really need a hardcore software developer to build that from scratch every single time. You can actually create systems such as WordPress, for example, that can help you with that. So that's what he does. And that's exactly the sort of situation you will find yourself in if you go down this route as a beginner, because odds are that you are going to learn a skill set, you will get comfortable working in that specific way in this little box, and then you will not go outside of that box. And that's something you don't have the luxury really of doing, in my opinion, when you are a software developer. As a software developer, your bread and butter is that you understand the fundamental tools that everything else is built on, and that you can start with nothing and build from nothing. And that's not something that you're going to do if you go into WordPress theme development. So what I want you to take away from this is WordPress themes is a great complement to an already existing skill set. If you already know how to use CSS, HTML, and build systems and all that good stuff, then you can have a look at it. Or if you just want to do it for fun, that's great, but it is not something that you are going to, it's very unlikely that you will face any type of work situation where this will be relevant to you. So be a little bit careful, because it's vital that if you do it specifically as a beginner, that you do it for fun, and that you understand that real software development has to do with other things, so that you don't get locked into this mindset that, oh, this is all I have to learn in order to then go and apply to Google or Facebook or whoever, because these sorts of companies don't really use this sort of skills in the roles that they provide to software developers. Have a great day.